Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey there, welcome to a election day rendition of the program. It is November 5th, the rainy election day here in Pittsburgh, PA. And sort of what I want to talk about today is elections, maybe presidential. And here to help me in that regard is my sister, Susan. Hi, Susan.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay.
You're sounding a little better.
Yeah, right. I know. I think it's pretty much gone, whatever that was. I am admittedly nervous about the election because there's been this flurry of reports about even though Trump is historically unpopular as an incumbent, he still manages to be competitive as far as the pollsters can tell, and in large part because of the Electoral College, I think. I just read somewhere that the Electoral College creates a situation where Democrats have to have 4% more votes just to even the advantage the Electoral College gives to Republicans and Trump specifically. That's just amazing.
It's a problem. I mean, I read yesterday. I think that in not too many years, something like 35% of our entire population will be in 6 states, so they will be unrepresented.
Right. It cannot stand. It just can't.
It can't go. I mean, that the Electoral College was designed in a time when the population needed some sort of weighting, but now it's weighted improperly against democracy, which was always the underlying concept, despite the new conservative line, which apparently is that we are not a democracy.
Oh, right. No.
We're a republic. We're a representative, and you go, no, we can be both. Clearly if we are a democracy, then don't vote.
So I know that there's no way constitutionally to get away from the Electoral College, but on a state-by-state basis, it is possible to correct some of the problems created by it. But I don't know. It's big. And now I'm increasingly worried about the Democrats somehow blowing this. Where did I read that, some people are saying Trump has a 50-50, maybe even more, chance of re-election.
Well, Lynn, good. Keep us on our toes. Keep us working. The last thing that we need is to feel like this is in the bag.
Well,
it isn't. And we do need, we aren't going to change those no votes. That's the first rule of politics, any more than anyone's going to change my vote. So the task is clear. You got to get out people that don't vote. You got to get out the undervoters, and you got to change the independents' minds. That's where, there are actually people that can go either way. You got to find them, and you have to talk to them. It's just really old-fashioned work. And the latest poll that I read, Lynn, says that we are Biden, Bernie, or Warren all beat by the popular vote. Yes, the Electoral College is close, but we're doing our work and we're evening out. We're getting it through our heads that we're going to vote for whoever the candidate is.
I don't, you might be, but I increasingly am seeing signs that, as usual, there's a lot of, Democrats who simply won't. I was at a event last night, and the person clearly stated There is no way I can vote for Bernie Sanders. So, and
Well, get over it. I
Well,
hate Bernie too, but if he's the candidate, I'll vote for him.
well, I don't think he will be, but
I don't either.
There's all of
But
these.
that's the job.
I have to tell you, I am queasy about the party as usual, because this is what primaries do. They pull a party to the extreme. And that's what what's happened to the Republican Party. You don't want to be primaried in the Republican Party because somebody to the right of Attila the Hun is gonna, come and beat you. In the Democratic Party, it's different. You're primary because you're not progressive enough. But in the general election,
it's the middle.
It's the middle. So why, when you're picking a candidate, you want to pick somebody who's going to win, not necessarily somebody who checks all the boxes on your wish list. Now, who can win is none of us can, say that we know who can win. I am very worried that Warren is obstinately hanging in here with the Medicare for All thing and getting rid of it, because I think that in the general is going to cost the Democrats an incredible amount of votes. I really do. I think this is nuts. It's not where people, I think it's a problem. And I think Biden is weak. And I'm starting.
Biden is terribly weak. I'm worried about him.
Terribly worried about him. Bernie needs
I just
to
don't
step
think his
aside.
head is working.
Bernie needs to step aside and allow, if you add Bernie's support with Warren's support, you get an overwhelmingly, that's where most of the primary voters are. But that would mean Warren would end up having a pretty good lead. But I think she needs to think about, I don't know.
What's she supposed to do now? Back off and go, well, this is a goal. We'll get there eventually,
I wish in some ways that she hadn't been so adamant. Because it is true that there are people who have really good health insurance. I was never one of them. But some, who have really good health insurance, they want to keep it. They damn well need to be able to. You need to do a transition, not a just throw it all out and start all over again. People are terrified by something like that. I don't know. I think Democrats are just geniuses at messing things up. And here's the other thing. Misogyny. It is so unbelievable. Warren is held to a higher standard, who kept, in many ways, the concerns about her being a woman. Is she electable? I mean, and then there's this poll that's out, the New York Times today, and it shows that just unbelievable numbers of voters who are open to voting for a Democrat will not vote for her because they have
they won't. They will find something wrong with every single woman.
That's
and
right.
I have to say, it's not only men, it's also women, and we've got to start looking at why we love to put ourselves and our wives and our mothers and our daughters down. I don't get it. I do not understand why our men are so insecure that a level playing field is so frightening to them.
Listen to this. 26-year-old woman. I'm going to quote her. A 26-year-old woman. She lives in Florida. She works at victim advocacy. Okay? She voted for Trump last time around. She says she will not do so again. So here's somebody who's ripe for the picking. And listen to what she said. I would not vote for Warren. There's just something about her that I just don't like. I just don't feel like she's a genuine candidate. I find her body language to be very off-putting. She's very cold. She's basically a Hillary Clinton clone. As for other female presidential candidates, this 26-year-old woman said they're super unlikable.
See? She's been
26?
trained to hate herself. She's been trained to to hate herself. She's been trained that if she feels the slightest bit of ambition or get up or go, she's a traitor to her sex. This is just too much.
But Susan, this is real. And then there's
I know,
Buttigieg
this is
coming
our
on.
daughters who are not feminists. I don't understand it.
I don't know. We have a call. Let's get a caller in here. I'm for some reason.
I was in a good mood this morning.
I'm sorry. I am just
me
running
out.
scared. I've had too many encounters of late that have just unsettled me. Caller, hello.
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 So, why are you so convinced that no one wants Medicare for all when polls say the majority of people do?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's more popular than you think.
Uh-huh. Well, okay. I'm just saying that I think incrementalism is what works in this country, and scaring people by saying you're going to throw everything they know out and replace it overnight, when in fact you probably can't unless you have an overwhelming Democratic majority in both houses as well.
So, am I really the only person whose employer changes their health care system like every 2 or 4 years?
No, you are not. You are the person
that's completely made up. The whole issue is completely made up about this whole, I got to keep my private health care that I hate all the rest of the time. So ridiculous.
I've got to stay in the job that I hate because I can't give up the terrible health care.
Right. It's like, well, all it takes is a candidate to say, like, what every single person in the United States knows, that this sucks. So, It's not really that difficult, and that's why the overwhelming majority of people already support this.
The overwhelming majority of people? What poll are you seeing?
70% of the poll I just looked at, I was on the Hill, which is not a liberal publication.
Say they support Medicare for all?
Medicare for all.
Okay.
And can I just say that the United States... Can I just say that the United States version of incrementalism means talking about it and doing absolutely nothing, and as far as I'm concerned, marching us backwards.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing has happened.
All right.
Incrementalism.
I'll stand down. I've just been made very nervous of late. And I was telling people just a few days ago,
public relations firms,
that Democrats are always running scared, and now I'm feeling scared. So
private insurance companies are definitely pouring a lot of money into public relations right now, and they're doing a good job on your head right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they are.
Well, thank you. Okay, I'll cease and desist and head back to my corner. Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah, and this doesn't have to be this difficult. It really doesn't. We stop talking about how bad we are. We stop talking about how we are our own worst enemy, and we remember there's only one thing to do. Go and vote for the Democrat. I don't want to hear about why you won't vote for this one and you won't vote for that one. The question is, do you want Trump again? Do you want to finish breaking the nation? Or I'll take incrementalism here. There's no perfect candidate, but the most perfect candidate is the one that isn't Trump. Period.
Okay, Suze. I guess that's settled that. It's just that not everybody is going to listen to you in that regard, and you know that. I just hope we can get our
but
people
it doesn't
out.
mean that there's so much money being poured into Wisconsin. I got to get myself to Wisconsin and change my residency be where my vote will count, and I'm going to do that. There's going to be one more blue vote in Wisconsin this year.
Well, and I mean, okay. The pollsters are driving me insane. I really shouldn't look at any
Stop reading them. Just do the job. Just do the job. And I'm really far more upset by, what I just consider to be the total unveiling of the full scope of American misogyny. I'm just getting tired of it. And if we can just work on ourselves, if we can just as women try to see what we do to our own heads, for crying out loud.
Well, it is true, because I was talking to a woman, not highly educated, good human being, and she was saying the same kind of thing that this woman in Florida was saying, that I just don't, I look at Elizabeth Warren or put Kamala Harris or whatever, and they don't see a president. They can't see a president because they
want a big, strong man to take care of them.
They don't understand that what their heads have been. They've been brainwashed. They've been propagandized, and they don't understand. But they don't want women in positions of power. There's a ton.
Which means what you have to look at is a reflection of how women feel about themselves, their own incompetence, their inability inability to take care of themselves when they do it 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and do twice as much as most men because they hold their jobs, they raise their kids, and they do the house. What is it that makes us think that women are incompetent?
Because that's been the narrative since day one, and it's internalized in many women. Even the fact that we're called the weaker sex. Obviously,
the weaker sex.
We are not the weaker sex, or childbirth would not have been given to us, right? We are the stronger sex in every way, and we do, as Susan says, shoulder a bigger part of the load in almost every culture and every place you want to stick a pin in this globe. But the system has been run and created by not women.
Men.
And men have had the advantage of being able to claim that women are their inferiors. And this has gone on for, my God, millennia.
Wait. Yeah, men wrote all the rule books,
right.
not starting with, but including the Bible.
Right.
And so these are all men's words, period.
Right.
If there is a God, just shows God to us. If that's how you want to believe, then open your eyes, look around. That's evidence of God. All the rest is men's words. Every single bit of it.
We have another.
And to the I'm just tired of this, and to the extent that
Susan,
we need to stop it. I'm done.
Okay, we have a caller. Hello.
Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning. It's a bad man, ladies.
No, I'm not. I'm yelling at women. I'm yelling at women.
And men. Susan, you're yelling at everybody.
You know what? You can yell at my sisters too. I have 5 older sisters, and they're more misogynistic than I am.
Oh,
yeah, I bet.
It's like women. Men are men. And there's some good ones. There's a lot of bad ones, and some are just clueless. But women are their own worst enemies. They really. I look at my family and my sisters, just like I walk on water. I walk on water because I was the firstborn male after 5 unsuccessful tries with these girls. And you point that out. They look at me like a deer with headlights, and I'm wonderful, and I'm more flawed than any of them. And my dad walked on water. My mom's just a crazy lady. She is crazy. But my dad had his faults too, and they won't see it.
Well, yeah. Well, there it is in a microcosm. The men are of value, the men are valuable, and the women not so much. They are there to enable and worship the male of the species. God help us.
Well, you know what happened when I was a kid?
That's okay. I like men.
You wouldn't know
like
it from
to
the
get
way
that
you
out.
talk on this show, I'll tell you.
When I was a kid, because I was the youngest, like here I am. I have like my sisters are anywhere between 8 and 3 years older than me. I mean, we really packed them in fast. My mom did, and I came along. I was born. My dad would come home from work after drinking vodka all day, and he would stop by, get another pint of vodka, and get me a Clark bar, a candy bar, and he'd get me one and hand it to me in front of my sisters, who were all children too. And everybody was okay with that. It's like,
so wait a minute. They had your mother spit out all these girl babies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and because she was trying to get a boy. So she had to keep.
Apparently so.
Sure. So, no, another girl. Oh, damn. Okay, bang. Another girl. Oh, damn. Another girl. So when she finally got you, did she quit?
My brother was accident 10 years later.
Oh, okay.
Well, we were all
okay, but so she essentially did. Okay, yeah. Well, there it all is. You have more value. Damn.
Oh my, yeah, and my sister bought into that.
Sure.
And I like.
They did not. They did not warrant a Clark bar. They didn't. God.
They weren't worthy.
They weren't worthy. They were mere girls.
And they've all had their problems too. And I'm sure that played a huge part into that. And when I had my own daughter, when I was 25 years old, I got pretty jacked off about it. And like, how could my dad do this to my sisters? I would never do that to my daughter. I value her so much. And they just don't understand. And I don't know how you fix that.
I don't know either. We have another caller.
I don't know either.
So I don't know. It's your cross to bear. You're more feminine than your sisters. You're more.
Talk to them.
I am a feminist. I'm a proud feminist.
Yeah, right. You are. You're more
a feminist.
Good for you.
Well, and your daughter's a lucky girl.
My daughter is fantastic. And she just is the coolest kid too, and she just lives life big and has a really good time and is a really good person. I'm so proud of her.
All right,
and I wish my parents would say the same thing about my sisters. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, got to get another caller in here. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ladies.
Okay. Bye. Bye. We have another caller. Hello.
It's Mike and hi, Susan. Hi, Lynn. It's Mike in D.C.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Another guy. Sorry. This is actually bigger than a male-female issue. This is about cultures who are subjugated, because when you live in a climate of oppression, which women do, you learn to oppress. And usually you learn to oppress other groups, like African Americans are not fans of gays and lesbians or the gay community. So, or blacks aren't or white nationalists aren't fans of Jewish people. So you usually go at another community, but women do it to themselves. Mm-hmm. They are oppressed, so they learn to oppress other women. Sometimes it's people less than you, meaning poor. Sometimes it's women that have more than you. So the only way to change any of this is stop the oppression of women.
Yeah.
But how is that done?
I don't know.
I don't know, because it's ingrained in our culture.
Right.
It's written into every single stitch of the fabric of our culture.
You know what?
It's written into the law.
I'm holding up the National Geographic this month, and it's called Women. and everything in here was written by a woman and all photos by women, and they look at women around the world. They look at laws governing women around the world, and it is horrific. Maybe that's why I'm in the mood I'm in. I read this whole thing last night. And we in the United States are not way up there on certain on rankings of how we treat women. Every country on this globe has some law on the books that regulates women.
Of course, because you can't be trusted, because you have power with the vagina. And men are afraid of that. Men are afraid that you can say no to them and not give them what they want. So you've been subjugated since Adam and Eve, because men don't have the ability to take what they want when they want it, really.
You know, women have
in my opinion, as a gay
women
guy.
have a mysterious power that has, scared men from day
Well,
one.
that's why they throw blankets over us, for crying
That's
out loud.
right. We cannot be even seen or heard or given any. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But how the hell we with women in our own purview, how we erase all this damage to.
Well, some of the ways
ourself.
that we erase it is, why keep giving into these crazy rules? Like, if someone comes onto an airplane and for religious reasons doesn't want to sit next to a woman, get off the airplane.
Right, but that's not what the airlines do.
No, the airlines move the woman. So that's got to stop. Get off the airplane if you don't like it.
Well, but
where do my rights bend to your misogyny? No. I mean, every single time one of those occurs, we need to stand up and say, no.
Yeah.
But then
It's
you won't be
exhausting.
liked.
Oh,
and then
well,
you won't be liked. And for women, I don't think we should underestimate that. I think for
it's
women, they
huge.
want to be liked more than they want to be respected.
And do you know what?
Oh,
And you know
yes.
what? In this National Geographic, someone says in there that women, almost all women, I know I've got it, have this disease that holds us back, and it's called the disease to please. Women have been taught since day one to be pleasers.
That's our skill.
To be pleasant, to be helpers, to be, right, exactly. So all women, I mean, first coming to terms with that, how every second of our day we're concerned about, are we being pleasing? Not all women. What?
Let me just tell a quick story. I was in a business meeting a few weeks ago, and I was looking at some terms. I was the only woman, and there were 5 men. And I was looking at the terms that were being offered, and the terms were different than what we had all seen at the previous meeting, and we were there to vote on those terms, not these terms. So I said, rather sternly, where's the deal that we were presented with? This is not the deal. Okay, so it all gets ironed out. I get a phone call from the guy conducting the meeting afterwards telling me that I need not be so stern.
Well, you just said you said it sternly.
I did.
So what?
Yeah, but he did.
Because I thought it deserved a stern voice.
Right, it did. You were discounted.
Well, it was a totally different deal. What do I say? Tra-la, this is a totally different deal. This is a different deal. That's what a man would have said.
And a man would never
have...
call another man and say, you should be more gentle.
Yes.
Ever.
Right. You were
Ever.
not pleasing. There is no reason to be so, so aggressive. Yeah.
Well, I sent him a picture of my boxing gloves in response. I turned back, and I said, and I just let him know that he wasn't to say things like that to me again, and we went on very pleasantly. But, this is just an everyday occurrence. A woman acting professionally is thought to be cold, stern, and inappropriate.
Well,
I was
exactly,
doing nothing
which is
except
why-
acting professionally.
Which is why it's hard for a woman to run for president.
That's right, because
see,
that's what
what's more
Elizabeth Warren does. That's what Kamala Harris does. That's what they all do, and they're all being called on. And Amy Klobuchar, oh, she's mean.
That's right. That's right.
And she should say, that's right, I'm mean. And what we need is a mean bastard to beat this orangutan in the White House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It isn't that people say you're mean that's the problem. And this is a guy speaking. It's that you care that people say you're mean.
That's right.
I don't care that you think I'm an asshole. You know what? I get shit done.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's it. But, for a woman, it's just amazing. You remember Klobuchar? There was that article early on about how she's really hard to work for. She, demands
she's
this,
mean
and
to her employees.
She's mean to her employees. And I have said to a few people recently, I just think this race, who knows? I'm keeping an open mind. But if electability is an issue, then I think Klobuchar deserves another look from everybody.
Yeah. She's more moderate. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that what I was told was, but she's mean. That one article wiped her out. And think of this.
So
would that article?
So what that she's mean?
Would that article have ever been written?
She is.
Would that article have ever been written about a man? Would that article have ever been written about a male candidate? Would it ever have even been written? Somebody said, hey, I heard some of his staffers say he's a real son of a bitch. Yeah, so?
But they wouldn't say that he's hard to work for. He's demanding. That's what they say of a man. You better be up to snuff if you're working for that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she's mean, and I'm stern.
And that's part of why I don't like Warren. No, I will vote for her, obviously, is that her responses to Trump's attacks is defensive. Like she'll say, see, I am 6 parts Indian. That's not what you do with a bully. You don't defend back. You attack back. So we need someone mean. And if Klobuchar wants to win,
need somebody confident. That's all. Just confident. And we won't characterize it as mean. That's what they do.
Oh God. Okay. Well, thank you. I'm a nervous wreck.
This is hard stuff. This is difficult stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I just got an email saying, hi, Darius. We're all meeting to Carter's later to watch the game. Be there on time. Thanks. Brittany. How would I don't even understand how that comes to me. How would that come to me?
That's why it's called spam.
Huh?
That's why it's called spam.
You think that's
Brittany's
spam?
sending that to 6,000 people.
I don't think so.
She sent it to her whole mailing list.
Hi, Darius. We are all meeting to Carter's. 2 Carters? Later.
Yeah.
See, it's spam. It's someone from Russia trying to find out if you really have an account.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm being too opinionated. I'm not being very nice.
Explain it to her. Explain it to her.
I hear it. Okay. All right. It's a Russian bot named Brittany.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Okay. Delete, Lynn. Delete.
Okay. Easier said than done on my new email server here. Okay. So here's somebody who says, I made bumper stickers that say, anyone or anything but Trump.
Yep.
That's about it.
Good.
Speaking of women, Susan, I had seen this thing and had said something to you about it earlier or a week ago or whatever the hell. And you said, oh, yeah, but I hadn't seen anything. And it had to do with something going on in your former state. That the governor, the health director, the health department director of the state of Missouri, a guy, has a spreadsheet, supposedly, that is tracking.
Created one.
Created a spreadsheet to track the menstrual periods of Planned Parenthood patients. What?
Which begs the question, what right do they have to just take everybody's medical records and comb through them for personal information? HIPAA.
How?
HIPAA is HIPAA, and this has nothing except a political purpose. It was a incredible, and they're paying for it. I mean, they're just the.
Unbelievable.
I mean, there's nothing they could have done. I'll be very interested. There is an election in Missouri today, and among the races is a special election in a far west St. Louis County area that is usually held by a Republican state rep, but went to McCaskill in the last Senate race, so they're purple. And I'm betting that that's going to put a Democrat, one more lonely Democrat, into the House, in the state House in Missouri.
Which will bring the number to 2?
Yeah, well, maybe 3. But I have to say that there is not a woman that isn't terribly offended by that.
First of all, I don't even understand how you can do that.
They were trying to prove that they were not doing good medicine by finding, I don't know, incomplete abortions or something. What they came up with was, out of thousands, there were four cases where something went wrong, which means they're doing a really good job.
Well, there's a lot of oh God, all right.
And they aren't all there for, this is what they don't understand. Planned Parenthood is about a lot more than abortions. That's 3% of what they do. When I was a college student, I was in St. Louis. I didn't have a doctor. I went to Planned Parenthood for a gynecologic exam. They were my doctors.
Yeah. You go for birth control. You go for cancer screening.
You go for birth control. You go for your pap smears. You go for. I never went for it. I never used them once for what they are accused. This is
most
it's
of their
just
patients
disappointing.
never ever used them to abort a pregnancy.
But I will say this: I'm very proud of my St. Louis Planned Parenthood, because while they were busy fighting the state, who's been trying to close them down for months now, they've been just making stuff up and closing them down, and the judge keeps saying, nope, and then they come back again. Well, while all of this has been going on, a mere 15 minutes away over the bridge in Illinois, they have built a huge complex to take care of all the women from all these states where they are keeping, them down. And Illinois is going to be a beacon for women's health care. And St. Louis built their new facility right across the river. So, ha, 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 ha.
Okay, I want to change the subject.
Okay, I'm just saying geography matters, and if all you have to do is drive 15 minutes to get to a place where you're then we're okay.
I know that as somebody who's been on the board of Planned Parenthood here, that obviously there are discussions here about, because we sit on close to a border with Ohio and West Virginia, what our responsibility is to take in all the women from those states who will not have access to abortions. I mean, your ability to have control of your body as a woman in this country depends on, in large part, where you live.
Geography, right.
Geography.
Which is not equal protection under the law, by the way.
which is just, if there is a right, it should be, obviously, a right available to anybody. But obviously the right to abortion is not really a right.
No, other people get to determine whether you're going to be able to exercise
to that right.
the right.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Okay, So this is something, Susan, that has absolutely nothing to do with anything, but I'm just dying to talk about it.
Okay.
It's, it's the kind of thing that'll send some of my listeners running from the television? No. What are we on here? Computer. They'll think of it as tabloid kind of stuff. But I just find this an interesting topic. So here we go. It has to do, and Ray, if you're out there listening, turn off right now because I'm about to say something about the British royal family. Okay? He hates the British royal family so much he gets apoplectic upon even hearing those terms. I mean, those words, whatever. And so I want to talk about Prince Harry and his American
and Meghan Markle.
Yes. And
his wife.
I want to talk about the fact that they have, sued. They have let it be, tabloids in Britain, that they have let it be known that they feel under assault. And here is, they're princes and princesses, and they live in castles, and they're miserable. And it's not something that people are going to have a lot of sympathy for. But
I have sympathy for him.
I do. And Harry has said publicly,
I think he's wonderful. I just love that he is fighting back. He'll be damned if he loses another woman he loves to these folks.
So here were his words. He says, I will not be bullied into playing the same game that killed my mother. And he really loves his wife and wants to protect her. The fact is if you're a royal in Great Britain, you have about as much freedom of choice in your life as
you're in prison.
You're in prison. You're in prison.
It's a very nice prison, but you're in prison.
Prison, but it's a prison. And here's what I wanna make a prediction. It might not be, but I've decided this is what is inevitably is going to happen.
They're gonna move to the United States.
They're going to renounce.
Or Canada.
No, they're going to renounce. They might move to the U.S., but he is going to renounce his royal status and be a person, a human being. I'm willing to bet you that that's what they end up doing.
Well, why shouldn't they?
No, I think he should. And be able to live. And
for a little kid that was showing all the, that was in constant trouble, and some of it wasn't very nice trouble, I really think he's grown into being a rather magnificent man.
He seems to be. I do. Yeah. He seems to be. I like him. I do like him. Her, I don't know. I like him. And I think if they want a regular life, then he has to say, okay, fine, I'm not going to be a prince. Because I don't see him getting any pleasure out of any of it. And in fact, he's fearful for the life of his. But, even if he were to renounce it, the tabloids would still be all over him.
Yeah, but I think it would be, I think eventually they'd have a nicer life. I do.
Well, I hope they do. I just want to say that I've seen
what they are talking about is moving to Africa. That's what they're talking about.
Well, I don't know. I do feel for him. I mean, he lost his mother to this same insanity, and I don't know. And he has acknowledged that there's a rift now between his only sibling, his brother, who's a dutiful royal, but has to be because he's the one who's going to be the king.
He's going to be king.
Harry ain't going to be king. I mean, Harry is, sixth in line, I believe.
Right. I mean, he's got nothing to, and his brother has a whole different life ahead of them, and it requires whole different ways of doing business. Right. I don't think that there's anything serious between the two of them. I think they're trying to figure out how to each live their own lives within the rules that they've been handed.
Oh, who knows? Okay.
I don't know.
Do you know that
You know what? The moral of the story is nobody gets a bed of roses. It doesn't matter, whether you're born into a castle. Everybody gets sores in their life. I mean, everybody has it's not life if there isn't plenty of unhappiness in it.
So,
and money doesn't get you out of any of that.
Yeah. But everybody'd rather be rich than poor.
Well, it's frequently easier to get through life unhappy with money than it is to get through life unhappy without money.
I think so.
No, obviously.
Yeah. So I came across this piece, and it just blew my mind. Do you know the NRA raffles off
guns,
semi-automatic rifles, handguns, guns with high-capacity magazines, pump-action shotguns. And you know where they do this? In the past 2 years, the NRA Foundation's fundraising program has been doing these raffles in high schools all over the country.
That's right. I think we should invite them into synagogues and have them do it there, too.
Why not? So one woman, a mother, whose 16-year-old son goes to the school, said, it's unbelievable. She walks in, and there's these guns, these horrible guns all over on tape. She says, it's obscene. The more I looked into it, the more I realized they are having these events all over, not just in our little town, but little towns all over the country. They bring in, and these events have given the NRA more than $33 million last year.
Well, they need it. They have to buy, what's his name, a really nice house.
Wayne LaPierre. But it's really unbelievable that wow.
No, I mean, it is so cynical, it's amazing that they would bring the very weapons that our children are being slaughtered by into the places where they are being slaughtered, and they think that is appropriate, is everything you need to know.
Opposition to this has emerged in some areas of the country scarred by mass shootings. I believe that they were just recently somewhere in Kentucky, and they were all of 80 miles from the site of a deadly shooting that had happened 3 weeks earlier. And they come in with their guns to raise money. Oh, my God. Okay, they're so repulsive. It's extraordinary. I came across
and on related stories in our hate crime tally.
Yeah.
They arrested that guy in Colorado for trying to blow up a synagogue.
He was going to blow up a synagogue. First, he had a better idea. He was going to poison all the members of the synagogue with arsenic. And that proved to be
in their water supply.
Yeah, a little difficult. So then he thought maybe Molotov cocktails. He would weld the synagogue's doors shut and then lob Molotov. And that didn't go. And then he settled on pipe bombs. And the thing is, this is a little synagogue in a little town, Pueblo.
13 families. 13 families.
No, 35. 35.
Oh,
35 families. That's how it belonged to this. I mean, that's how small it is. Some of them children of Holocaust survivors. But get this. Since we had this anniversary of the Tree of Life massacre just last week here, it says in this article from the New York Times about this guy's arrest that this arrest is the 13th time since the Pittsburgh attack, in which authorities have arrested someone who was plotting an attack on the Jewish community. So in the last year, that's more than one a month of another planned attack on the Jewish community.
But, then there's the other group of things. There's those people that enjoy beating up people that they think don't belong here or throwing battery acid on them. I mean, I think these are all...
It's all of a piece.
They're all the same thing. So the guy in Milwaukee, the 61-year-old man that thinks he has a right to throw battery acid on a guy whose accent he doesn't like and tell him to go back where he belongs. And then there's the 18-year-old boy that's beaten up in California, because he was speaking Arabic on the telephone.
That's right. And this is all can be laid at Donald Trump's feet, because he is the one. I guess the guy who threw the battery acid first said, before he threw the acid in this, by the way, another American citizen's face, just happened to have darker skin and a foreign look about him, he said to him, "Stop invading our country." These are the words of the president.
Those are Trump's words. That's the president.
That's the president. So here's a great quote. This shows how, human beings have not changed for thousands of years. We're the same. If we were to go back and be able to have a conversation with a person from 800 years ago, I mean, we would find we're human beings, have the same kind of concerns, basically. And as I'm blown away by this is a quote from Tacitus, the Roman historian. So how many thousands of years ago is that? This is a quote from Tacitus, a Roman historian, that so fits to what the Trump administration is doing now to defend itself from the truth. And Tacitus said this: "Crime, once exposed, has no refuge but in audacity." And that is exactly what the Republicans are doing. They have no refuge because the crimes of the president and this corrupt administration have been exposed. And so they drop back into audacity. I mean, you cannot believe the things that they will say in an attempt to defend the president. God almighty. Anyway, so Tacitus, if he were to be dug up, would say, oh yeah, things look just like they were in Rome. Looks exactly the same. Because there's this common thread: human beings. Yeah. So it is election day today. I certainly hope you are all going to be exercising your right to vote. And I hope your votes count. And I'm hoping for a little upset here, but probably ain't going to happen. Susan, are you voting today?
Yeah. No, there's nothing here.
Nothing in Illinois?
Nothing happening here. Nothing in Illinois.
Really?
No, really. Nothing in Illinois. I'm just thrilled that we settled the teacher strike.
Yeah,
that was an 11-day long strike,
yeah.
And that was huge.
Well, that's good. And I have to say, if anybody's paying attention, there have been two relatively successful strikes in this country, which we haven't seen in a long time.
The GM strike and the Chicago teacher strike,
That's
and they were both pretty good.
Yeah,
I think unions are coming back.
Yeah, I think so. You can, you screw people long and hard enough, they will start to fight back. And so I think these are two really good wins for organized labor. Also, check out other states that are voting today. Two to keep an eye on are Kentucky and Virginia. Kentucky very unpopular Republican governor there. Isn't that where Trump went yesterday to try to buck him up?
Yeah.
There's a shot, and again, I will be surprised, but a shot that very red state might throw this Republican out. And then in Virginia, you're going to see a formerly red state turn clearly blue. That's what the bet is that the Democrats will take over both chambers of the state legislature, and they already have the governor and lieutenant governor, so it'll be a totally Democratic state. Virginia, ladies and gentlemen, the former seat of the Confederacy.
Well, this is what happens with overreach. If you get enough people, if you manage to get enough power in a small enough group of people and they are disadvantaging everybody else, eventually you piss off enough people to get yourselves thrown out. So let's see what happens. I sure hope.
There's also another trial starting today of yet another Trump confidant and former advisor and pal, and that would be the loathsome, what's his name, Roger Stone?
Right.
Roger Stone.
Yeah, Roger
right.
Stone.
So
who is just amazing. They must have locked him up and thrown away the key. His attorneys I'm speaking of, because he was out there, saying he's been out in the limelight, and that's what he likes.
And you couldn't shut him up, but they shut him up. Well, it's the
judge. You couldn't shut him up, and he has been so disappeared.
The judge shut him up. The judge shut him up. There is a.
But that didn't even work in the beginning.
Yeah, but I think she scared the shit out
of him.
No,
she threatened to throw him in jail if he kept talking.
Yeah. So he is going on trial for perjury, lying to Congress, obstruction of justice, and witness tampering. Which is, par for the course.
I got to ask you this question. So if everyone underneath their boss is guilty of these crimes,
yeah.
How is it that their boss isn't in jail with them? I mean,
I don't know.
Cullen didn't pay off all of those women because he wasn't told to do so. So since when? I mean, I know that when I hire someone to kill you, I am equally guilty of the murder.
Yes.
Sometimes, in some courts, even more guilty of the murder. And you, it seems to me that why anybody's looking at this impeachment with everybody around him is in jail for doing things that he asked them to do.
No, I absolutely agree. By the way, guys, I've lost my email. It says they can't connect to the server. I can't imagine why. That server was really wonderful. Fuck. So if you guys are sending me stuff, I don't have it, and I'm not getting it, and I'm sorry. Trump, he's such a friggin' crook. It's unbelievable. I don't know. I'm trying to, you go up and down. Sometimes I feel like we're gonna rise to this moment. We're going to somehow save our country. And then there are days when I think we're not. I guess this was one of those days where I'm just glum. God.
Well, it's hard to keep it up. I mean, it's not like I don't understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But we've got a year to get through, and this is no time to get tired. I mean, we just have to believe in our cause and believe that we've got a fighting chance to win it. Those are both true. And then we have to work our asses off to get it done. That's all. And, the day after the election, we'll either kill ourselves or we won't. That's it.
Well, Susan, on that definitive and totally depressing summation.
Well, I have no intention of sticking around here for the next term if that happens. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what my decision will be. But it's just in my head. It's not a possibility that I am willing to consider. And if I have to, I'll deal with it at the time. But in the meantime, we have work to do.
Does anyone know the suicide prevention hotline number? I should maybe just keep it around. All right. Suze, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right. And you guys, bye. Tomorrow we'll have the election results. Ryan Dito will come in. We can talk a little bit about that, but we'll have time to ourselves as well. And so I'll look forward to that, I hope. Anyway, God bless us all.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.